Suze and I worked really hard to build up the business. We're making a few careful investments too. And thinking about our family's future. Our next steps. But no rush. Right now we're just taking the scenic route. And making some memories together.
Well, very good afternoon and welcome into Cambridge for the 2022 Elite Road National Championships. It's a blustery day. The men's road race is underway, but it's a day like no other. And we understand that the original course set for 6 laps of 22.5 kilometres is about to be called short. That we are going to take you live out onto the course because James Fouché, the 23-year-old who was schooled in Auckland, is leading this bike race. And if we understand, coming from the commissaires, this will be the last lap. Well, dramatic stuff. Tim Gudsell alongside of me, also Rushley Buchanan. Wow, what a chapter in the history of New Zealand cycling.
Yeah, what a chapter. No one could have seen this coming, but with the conditions out there, the rider's safety is still going to be paramount. The tent over our heads feels like it's about to lift off the ground, so I think these guys are, to some degree, they're going to be absolutely gutted that the others, they didn't get to have a crack at it, but there's been guys going off the course and so forth, so it is what it is.
So the original course was set to go at Mangakawa. It was a hill climbers course. They turned up this morning. Trees had been blown over in Cambridge. You can see the wind there in the background. They changed the course. They made it a flat course or a flattish course. Well, we knew the crosswinds were going to play a big part in it. Now, when the men's race got underway, it was very much stacked with riders from Bolton Equities Black Spoke Pro Cycling. They sent this young man, James Fouché, up the road. And through the last lap, he had a 2.5 minute lead. He's now extended that to lead to 4 minutes, but there have been trees that have been blown all over the road, and so the commissaires have said no, safety is a factor. So this 23-year-old from Christchurch who took his chance is going to be crowned National Road Cycling Champion. Checking with the commissaire though, trying to get some updates, just trying to confirm that.
Yeah, look, he really is probably as unaware as all of us that's what's just happened out there on the course. I mean, look, you can see the trees down on the side of the road, but James has just had the word from the commissaire that when he crosses the finish line this lap, which is, coming up this was only going to be lap 4 of 6, he is going to be the national champion.
Yeah, now he won a stage in Tourist Southland stage 6, so he's used to the wind down there. This will be a great moment too for Bolton Equities Black Spoke Pro Cycling, this trade team out of New Zealand, supported very much by Murray Bolton. For so long they've tried to win this. They were upstaged a couple of years ago by Shane Archbold, and then last year it was the great George Bennett. Well, now it is going to be the turn of Black Spoke, and James Fouché, does he show much of a celebration?
Yeah, look, he's probably pretty he's going to have some mixed emotions going on here. He's stoked, but at the same time he just didn't know how this is. He's only just been told this is going to be happening.
So he will be crowned national champion. James Fouché, at just 23 years of age, is now 2-time national champion.
Look, they just took it upon themselves. Some of the other riders will be absolutely gutted, but these guys, they knew going out there today there could be a change in everything. The whole race was thrown on its head. Like the other guys who have left it, they should have known.
Well, we've still got the under-23 race and those podium spots for grabs, and here comes the main peloton, and it'll be driven very much by Bolton Equities Black Spoke Pro Cycling. Well, Tim Gudsell, when you go through this field in terms of those silver and bronze medal positions, under 23 titles, sprint finish, how do you see it?
Oh, look, these guys are going to race for sure. The under 23s are going to be all over it. It's still a big race for them, and they want to take this jersey away. So these guys are now still going to, attack it and go for what's left.
Another one of the Black Spoke boys looking to try and make it a 1-2, possibly a 1-2-3.
Yeah, you could see James holding onto his bike, trying to keep it in a straight line. You can see the debris all over the road. If there's a lesson in this, it's to take the opportunities if they come along, even if they're early.
So Tom Sexton, number 9 for Bolton Equities, Black Spoke second on the road, but the plane train is on its way. The bus is shutting this down. There is a lot of urgency now in that chase group.
Yeah, getting this information across the riders is such a tricky one. No one's wearing earpieces in this race, and so these guys they've been unaware until only a few kilometres ago. And Tom Sexton's made the most of it. He's gone out and thought, well, I can take a silver medal here too.
Well, he was third at the scratch race at the World Championships in 2019, so he's got plenty of power, plenty of speed if it is required. The nice thing is he's got numbers in that peloton, and here is the main bunch, which again, we started out with 80 odd riders, and it was pretty much split. We went down to about 60 riders, then suddenly down to 30, and you can just see the damage that's been done through these very strong gusty crosswinds.
Yeah, look, they took it into their own hands. I mean, there was, and I think to some degree, it's good on them. They knew that there could be changes on the course today. There were changes before we got started, so they put the riders out there early and didn't wait to be sort of see what was going to happen. They went and took it in their own way.
So Tom Sexton will end up with the silver medal, and then there's going to be a great sprint finish for third place, but it'll be Bolton Equities, Black Spoke Pro Cycling first and second, and now the cat fight for third.
Yeah, full bunch kick here with Mudgeway and Nick Kurgazoo going for the line there, but it looks like Lawrence Pithy. He'll actually take out third place, but he's going to also, pick up the under-23 jersey there.
Yeah, we're in the colours of Francais de Jour, one of the big trade teams in the world. Well, drama. We were supposed to be bringing you the last 2 laps of this men's race, but the commissaires called it. It's just so windy, so gusty, so dangerous out there on the course. But what a day for Bolton Equities Black Spoke Pro Cycling team. Desperate to get their hands on that national jersey. They've done it. In fact, they've gone 1 and 2.
It looks like the riders themselves are in a little bit of disbelief that the race has ended. But, I mean, yeah, you've got to get out there and be aware of the conditions. And everybody knew that today was going to be a challenging day. We've had course changes. We've had shortening races. We've had trees over the road. So it's just another bike race where you got to keep your wits about you.
Yeah, boy, I tell you though, they took their chance. There was always there was always a discussion that things could end up getting shortened. It's always in the hands of the commissaires. They'd come through 3 laps, and then suddenly a major tree had fallen out over the road. 3 riders had gone down, and I think that really ended up being the catalyst for them taking a long, hard look at this, going, look, we've got a lot of professional bike riders in this race, a lot of riders who are set to go to Europe. We need to look after them, including George Bennett, Finn Fisher Black, some of the biggest names.
Yeah, look, a bunch of these guys will, and same with the girls, they're on the plane to Europe on Tuesday, and to get stuck into their seasons, and it just looked, the danger out there was just too high. You've got trees on the road, guys are going off into the ditch, and there's at some point you have to make a call. It's never an easy one as a commissaire. I know they really they take everything into account, but I think that's at some point you just have to make a call.
Yeah, Rusty, we were talking to you. I mean, you live down here in this region. You said you enjoy riding in the crosswinds, but this is more than just a crosswind now, isn't it? I mean, this is a cyclone at the highest level. Yeah,
I'm low-key fearing that this tent is going to fly off and hit the riders on the road. So, yeah, it's definitely gusty out there. There's literally gale force warnings. So, I'm sure the riders wanted to complete a full race, but like Tim said, that there's plenty more races this year, and it's a bit of a tough spot for everybody, but kudos to everybody for getting out there and giving it a go. Well, James Fouché, he won this race back in 2019. He's won it today, but perhaps not the way he expected. He's standing by with Andrew Dewhurst. Okay, there has been a delay in that. We are just getting that through our cans. Yeah, I mean, 23 years of age and 2 national road titles.
Yeah, you wouldn't have picked that in a hurry, but Yeah, I think, like I was saying before, like it was a day to go out and take it from the gun because you did not know what was going to happen. I mean, we're sitting here earlier this morning wondering if we're actually going to be out on the racecourse at all.
And so we'll hear from Zach Prendergast, who is the chief commissaire for this race. This was done prior to the women's race when the wind wasn't as bad, but they'd already made the decision at that point to change the original course and to have an abbreviation of that. And this is the rationale.
Well, Zach, testing day for everyone, a busy morning for the commissaires. What have you had to consider in coming to your decision about the course and about the timings?
Yeah, so we work very closely with the organisers and they're in touch with the authorities. There's trees down on the road, there's power lines and everything else, so the course is completely unrideable. What we're looking at is to be able to run a race and to be able to, get the all-important UCI points out for our riders when they go on their overseas campaigns. So we've gone out and with the organiser we've identified and established a new course that we can use. The course is a distance of 22.5 kilometres. It's long enough for us. We've had to do a few time and space equations because we have two courses racing at the same time. The changes are mainly, or the big one, is that the hills are out, so it'd be more of a Flatlanders Classic, to tell you the truth. But with the winds as well, this will bring another factor in, I think. So there's a few management techniques we have to look in terms of being able to protect those making the effort and support those making the race. But still, we hope that we have a distance that's long enough. There's no minimum requirement, minimum distance I should say, for the national championships, but we've been able to run the women's race at 90 kilometres, so just a bit of a shaving off there, and we'll go with 6 laps for the men. So we have started delayed everything by 1 hour, and that obviously affects the roll-on for people that have arrangements after the race. But we're pretty confident that we can get out and have a good race. As usual, collaborate with the team managers, collaborate with the riders, but we're here to race and hopefully we'll, the cream will come to the top.
And you continue to monitor the conditions. Obviously, wind, in particular crosswinds, can be a challenge. Is that just monitored through the day?
Yeah, well, I mean, there were some that say they're not too happy with the winds, and there'll be others sitting there licking their lips and relishing the thought of being able to get out into it, and echelon could be the word of the day. We'll continue to monitor the race. There's a number of techniques in that we can use. We can neutralise the race, we can stop it for a period of time, we can move it further on, but we want to be able to go full distance. It is a championship race, as I've said, so we are expecting the best riders to be able to battle the conditions and come out.
Commissaire Zach Prendergast there, the head commissaire, so that was earlier this morning. He said we will continue to monitor it, we will continue to make improvements or changes as the day goes on, and that has in fact been the case. If you have just joined us, the men's road race has been called early. We do have a new road race champion. His name is James Fouché, and he's standing by with Andrew Dewhurst.
Well, James, sort of goes with the way the day's gone. The sun's now come out. This has been crazy. Is that one of the more unusual winds you've had in your career?
Yeah, definitely. There was a few rumours, and I saw a note from the commissaires, I think this morning, saying that there's a possibility that it could be called off and the first person across the lap each time would be the winner. So I think that was in the back of most of the boys' minds throughout the whole race. And I attacked with like the second lap in, and then no one followed, so I just put my head down and raced each lap like it was my last. There was a tree on the road the lap before, and got blown off nearly a few times, so it's one of the wild days I've had out there, but no, it was good fun.
So is this coming from Scott in terms of is this one of the more clever national titles we're ever going to see?
I guess you could. Nah, it wouldn't be.
It's all your legs.
Nah, I think it was a bit of luck involved, but also we had the numbers, we had the strength with the boys, we had a plan. I reckon we had the strongest team out there, and we could win it in any way possible with sprinters, breakaway, late breakaway. So the pressure was on us, and it's cool to be able to deliver.
Yeah, certainly Bolton Equities, Black Spoke, this was a target, wasn't it? So as you say, you had a few cards up your sleeve, and this just happened to be your day in the way that it played out?
Yeah, I guess it sort of unfolded that way. Yeah, we sort of wanted to split the race up with the win, but it wasn't really wasn't too crosswindy, but it was enough to get like a group of 20, 25 out, but hit them a wee way out, and I didn't know if I could hold it or not, but just kept going, put my head down, kept going, and in the back of my mind I'd always think that the other teams would be chasing, so all the other boys from our team would be saving their legs, and it was a good day out, I think.
Yeah, and I hope the pictures are telling the story, because we're literally struggling to stand up here. How tough is it as a rider, knowing you've got to deal with the conditions, literally looking for trees that might have fallen down? Totally different?
Yeah, it was one of the hardest days I've had out there. Condition rise. Nearly got blown off 2 or 3 times a lap, I'd say, and even going over the hills, you put your head down and you're nearly sprinting, doing about 10k an hour, so it was savage out there, that's for sure.
It's a national title. Doesn't matter how you get it, it's a national title. You're pretty proud, pretty pleased to be taking that jersey?
Yeah, definitely. Second one, so it's a bit of a surprise, and as you say, as I said, a bit of luck involved, but I'll take it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Isn't he, James Fouché there? So Bolton Equities get that national title, get that national jersey, and you have to say it was all about the smarts. You heard James say there they knew that possibly at some point the commissaires might call this, and the race winner, if that was the case, would be the rider that was first across the line on the previous lap, or if they decided that that would be the final lap. And therefore, Rushley Buchanan, they had a plan, get somebody up the road. If that was going to be the case, let it be us.
Yeah, they've really showed how to control the controllables. You can't control the weather, you can't control the wind gusts, but you can control the information that you have, and they clearly did their homework. They looked at the communiques, they looked at what the rules would be if the race was shortened, and they used that information to their advantage, and they put themselves out there to say, look, we want to win this race, whatever way that is, we want to win it, and they did. They came away with the win.
And what a guy to send up the road too, Fouché.
Yeah, what a guy. I mean, he's a super strong time trialist. He's raced in some of the, he's raced with the Wiggins Pro Cycling team in the UK before, and he knows how to ride a bike. But like we saw even earlier in the race when there wasn't guys up the road, Pure Black came across, Black Spoke Pro Cycling came across the line 1 and 2 on the first lap, and they were always there. So at the end of the day, they used what the information was that they had. And every time they were actually going to win the race because they had a rider across the finish line. They took it like it was like a long points race on the track. You were trying to pick up your points you pick up. You didn't actually know whether they were going to be usable, but turns out they were.
Now, we also have a National Under-23 champion, and you'll be proud of this, a Francais de Jour rider, and he's standing by with Andrew Jers. I understand, Lawrence Pithy.
Yeah, Lawrence Pithy, congratulations, and we'll try and get this done before we end up in a different suburb, a different postcode. One of the more interesting days for you in your cycling career?
Yeah, very interesting. Pretty wild conditions out there with the wind, having to change the course. Today's been a crazy day from this morning till now. Yeah, I'm pretty over the moon to come away with the win though.
Obviously James had gone up the road, and when you got word from the commissaires, you guys would have known that was the overall title done and dusted. Were you looking over your shoulder though, seeing who was around in the under-23s?
Yeah, I definitely was. I knew who was there when Fouche had the elite wrapped up, but I knew under-23 was still up for grabs. Thankfully I had Shane Archibald, bit of a good mate now. He was racing for the win in the elite, and because Fouche was up the road, he sacrificed himself for me and helped me out, so can't thank him enough, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a feather in the cap, isn't it, for yourself personally, but also for Group Armour FDJ?
Yeah, it's awesome to be able to take the jersey to the team and wear it in under-23 races in Europe this year. I've already got a few on my calendar lined up, so I can't wait to put the fern on.
And tell me, when the commissaires told you, how far out was it, and then what was the plan? Did you start shuffling, getting ready? You got on that wheel?
Oh, it must have been within 10k, and guys just started attacking. Tried to bluff a little bit, not do too much work before the finish. Keegan Hornblow took a flyer, just probably just over a k to go, and his signature move, so I knew it probably would be coming. I had to get straight on that, and he got a gap, and I wasn't too sure if we'd be able to bring it back, but Novi got on the front and towed me into that final straight, and I just managed to finish it off.
National title, big smile to match.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Over the moon.
Interesting there that Shane Archibald working for the young man there. What a remarkable ride indeed. And that is a look at the Under-23 trophy. Now, it's actually a cobblestone that comes from the Camelberg climb in Belgium, which is where the New Zealand Cycle Corps was located. So it's wonderful that we have that acknowledgement too of the history of New Zealand in Europe. And what a stunning trophy, and a long, illustrious list of names. And perfect that Lawrence Pithy gets to add his name to a list of those previous winners. Let's just talk about that. Archibald working for Pithy. Did we know that prior to the start?
Look, these guys are, guys are friends. They end up living in similar towns around the world, and he's found an ally in Shane, and good on him. I'm sure the other guys would have had people leading them out as well, but it's it worked in his favour today.
I want to talk a little bit about Black Spoke. I mean, it would be nice if we could sort of see more trade teams being on the women's side of it, but we've got a bit of a starter here with Murray Bolton Equities getting behind this team, sort of riding more at that continental level, which is sort of a tier below the World Tour. Where to for them now? How exciting is it?
Yeah, they did a really good year last year in Europe, and they came away with some wins. They have some awesome riders with high profiles in the team, and this year the jersey will only elevate that. I know that they're going to go back overseas, based in Belgium, and do all those hard races and try to put their name out there, try to grow as a team. And they've come up in leaps and bounds, and quietly waiting for the women's team to be announced.
Yeah, it's a wonderful lineup when you do look at the likes of Regan Goff here, James Fouche, now Michael Vink, part of that team. You're starting to get a nucleus of very good bike riders. You've got Mark Stewart, the Scotsman, who sort of was a major player last year, couldn't compete this year because of nationality rules, but it's a real good nucleus, isn't it? And it's driven by New Zealand riders.
Yeah, it is, and they've signed on some more depth this year and some real experience, which has really bolstered their lineup. But yeah, it's great for New Zealand cycling. We could do with more of them, but the team really exists because of George Bennett. George goes out there to beat them every time, but Murray Bolton saw George Bennett competing at the Tour de France and said, "How do we get more George Bennetts?" And talked to a few people and said, build a development team, get as many young New Zealanders to Europe as possible, and that's what he's gone out and done. So it's amazing for New Zealand cycling, and if we could have more of them, it'd be awesome, but we've already got one that can start developing these riders. And last year they've already seen, they had Campbell Stewart on the roster. He got to Europe after the Olympics, won a bunch of races. He's Pro Tour with Bike Exchange, just like that. So that's the goal, and they've already got one guy across the line up to the World Tour.
Yeah, and again, it's just interesting, isn't it? I sort of sense now that Bolton Equities, though, you sort of just see a look at their recruitment that, yes, we want to develop, but I think they're now starting to say we also want to win races. And so I guess the challenge for them now is saying, well, how do we bring riders through, but getting that balance between experienced and established riders?
Yeah, it's really tricky. It's really tricky at that level because race starts become the biggest issue. How do you get a race program as a continental team to get some nice starts, some decent sized starts, where last year they got into the Tour of Norway where they were up against some World Tour teams and a bit of a mixture. You need to be able to hold your own, but at the same time you want to be bringing in the young talent.
You've also got to have a very good team leader, don't you? And Scotty Gott, and you've got a guy who's clearly got a very good cycling brain.
Yeah, and you saw that play out today. They have also really smart riders that know how to make the calls on the road, especially on a day like today when there's so many changing things happening, so many variables being thrown at you. You need riders with good tactic knowledge, able to make really fast calls, and a team member that everybody trusts.
Yeah, well, very much a win-win for Bolton Equities, Black Spoke Pro Cycling, and I do probably want to acknowledge Murray Bolton because, yes, he's a man of considerable wealth, but he's a passionate cycling guy, and sometimes it's that simple, isn't it? Just find those benefactors who are just passionate about a sport. Yes, they want to return, but they're doing it because they almost want to leave a legacy.
Yeah, exactly, and they've, he's started to put an establishment up there that's, they've got good grounds. This year they've now got themselves a base in Belgium. Some of the older riders are going to be living in Girona. They start to get established, and once you get that platform, they've done a lot of learning in the last couple of years. Once you get that platform, the riders can really, they can bounce off that.
Yeah, and it's great promotion, isn't it? I mean, it would be nice if we could get, suddenly we've got Black Spoke. It's got the New Zealand flag in it. But, you're looking at it more holistically. It would be nice if, say, government looked at it a little bit more and said, hey, why don't we get a women's pro cycling team? What a great way of promoting New Zealand, though, Putting in New Zealand, 100% pure NZ.com or whatever that particularly saying used to be. Because sport, we don't often realise it here in New Zealand, but cycling, I mean, in a lot of parts of the world, it's almost the second biggest sport behind football.
Yeah, we've seen some of the biggest World Tour teams for cycling. They all have women's teams now, and that's just the way that cycling is moving, and women's cycling in particular is growing, and we're gaining strength and gaining TV time, and you almost gain in popularity if you have a women's cycling team. So hopeful for the future for Black Spoke, but what they're doing at the moment is really awesome, just to get people on bikes, people overseas, and that Kiwi flag at the front of the peloton.
I guess the disappointing thing from today, Tim, because I was turning up here thinking Mangakawa 4 or 5 times up there, tough climb. We'll never really know, will we, how that race would have played out.
No, unfortunately we won't. We saw them go over Mangakawa a couple of years ago. They did 2 laps up there, and George really laid it down, but last year it wasn't in the course. It was back this year, and it was going to be 4 times. It was going to play out a completely different race. So we won't know, but we might just have to wait another year.
Yeah. But they did get it right, didn't they? I mean, we heard there from Zach Prendergast, they made the right decision on the right course based on the conditions.
Yeah, you really have to think of the riders' safety, and not just the riders, but the people on the motorbike trying to hold the cameras, the helicopter, people back here trying to hold tents down. I think they did make the right call. There's things been blowing all over the show right now.
Well, see, I've always wanted to go 100 kilometres an hour on a bike, and I'm thinking that I might just get my bike, find out where the tailwind is, and maybe pedal 2 or 3 times and just sit back, because it's about that strong at the moment.
You're going to want someone to pick you up at the other end, though, because you don't want to ride back into that.
Yeah, I mean, even the helicopters or the pictures from the air today, just almost impossible. And God, we should congratulate the cameraman on the back of the bike, specifically for the women's race. It was not an easy day out there for anybody.
Oh, exactly. They were having to adjust their cameras constantly. They were trying to clean the lenses and, get the pictures out there to us. But they were having as tough a time as anyone. Once you could see out there in both those races, they're just massive exposed sections. There's nothing to sort of stop it. If they were probably racing in a town circuit, we might have got away with it, but not out there in the country roads.
How disappointed will George Bennett be going away with nothing? New team this year, original course that was probably very much set up for him.
Yeah, I mean, everybody lined up at the national champs to win the national jersey, so 100% he's going to be disappointed. Probably also pretty frustrated that a lot of it was out of his control, the weather, the course. Like I said, they just changed the course just before the start of the race, so that's a huge mindset that you've got to change really fast. So I'm sure he's disappointed, but I'm sure he also knows how bike racing goes, and he's got plenty of more.
Now, we're just looking at some images there. I'm told that particular dog is Regan Goff's dog.
Yeah,
if Regan Goff's
Sherpa.
spending so much time overseas, who looks after, what's the dog's name? Sherpa.
Sherpa.
Who looks after Sherpa?
Poppy, his partner, and Sherpa knows all the tricks. Well trained.
There you go.
And even sponsor correct with its jersey.
Yeah, no, great leverage indeed. So a lot of international riders going to go home empty-handed, another 12 months to think about it, but I guess for a lot of these guys now it is very much eyes on what is ahead. It's now eyes on their professional trade teams and their roles within those teams, Tim.
Yeah, exactly, and I think all those riders out there today would have seen the risks and knowing that getting on the plane this week with a broken collarbone is not how you want to start the season. So it is what it is. Today was a bike race, but these guys have got 10 months of racing ahead of them, and they won't be short of racing. In another couple of months' time, they will be in the thick of it in the Belgian Classics and so forth. And yeah, they're not going to be too concerned by that stage.
We just saw Ryan Christensen there next to James Fouché, and he would have been one of the real race favourites as well today if it had been the original course.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan's a super strong climber and a local boy. He would have loved to be able to try show his form again like he did last year. He was an absolute protagonist in last year's race. So it's great for him. He's he showed his legs last year, and he's now managed to get onto the Black Spokes team. So his career is only heading in one direction, and that's upwards. So it's all he'll be disappointed about today, but again, he'll be away racing in a few months, and he won't remember it.
Maybe the biggest challenge for Scott Guyton in a lot of these races now, who's the team leader, because they have got some depth, haven't we? We've just sort of, just seen James Fouché there, and we've talked about, Michael Vink, clearly a big signing for them. We've just seen Ryan Christensen, we've got Regan Goff as well.
Yeah, definitely. They've got some serious depth there now, and it means that they can turn up to races and they've got multiple opportunities. They don't have to just sort of look to one guy to pick up all the race wins. They know they've got some winners and others, but for them it's as well about going to the race with some experienced riders and some young riders, and those young riders being able to look up to the Michael Vinks and the Regan Goffs and go, what do we do here? And they can actually make the calls on the road for the young guys and start to help them. They've got some young talents like Josh Kench and Logan Curry. These guys they're World Tour level riders themselves as they develop, but they need some good guidance, and now they've got it there.
And we've just seen Ethan Batt there, another member of the team. Prior to that, we saw Tom Sexton as well. So certainly here in numbers.
Black Spoke also have Gady overseas. He's in Girona watching, or probably not watching because it's probably midnight. And Mark Stewart, the Scottish guy who also took out the New Zealand Cycle Classic. So two key players that aren't here today, but we'll just bolster that squad.
Take a young guy like Finn Fisher-Black, who really George Bennett sort of saying is the future of New Zealand cycling. He's sitting there, another opportunity today, potentially missed. He looks across and he sort of says to himself, hey, James Fouché's won a couple of these and I'm really yet to get myself on the podium. It's not fair, is it?
Yeah, that's sport, isn't it? It's high-level sport. It's not fair. It's you've got to get out there and give it a crack. But I think today's race, like we were saying earlier, is it was really about taking the opportunities early on. It was always going to be that way. So if you didn't, then that was it.
Well, as the wind blows here in Cambridge, in the Waipa district, the home of champions, it's now time to honour and recognise our under-23 and our open men's New Zealand road racing champions. Standing by is Andrew Dewhurst.
Well, good afternoon. Thanks everyone for your patience as we now move to our presentations following the elite men's and under-23 road race national champs. Crazy old day, and it turned into one of the more unusual races. We'll get to those presentations momentarily. First, we acknowledge our Cycling New Zealand Road and Track Awards. They'll be presented by Erin Criglington, President of Cycling New Zealand Road and Track. Our first presentation is to the 2021 Male Road Cyclist Emerging Talent, and it's congratulations to Ruben Thompson. Congratulations, Ruben. Our next recognition is for the 2021 Male Road Cyclist of the Year. Please, a warm round of applause for George Bennett. Congratulations, George. Welcome now to the awards ceremony for the Under-23 men's road race here at the Grassroots Trust Elite Road National Championships. We welcome our podium athletes for the Under-23 men's race. Medals will be presented by Monica Robbers, Interim CEO, Cycling New Zealand. In third place and winner of the bronze medal representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, Alexander White. In second place and winner of the silver medal representing Copeland's and Booth's Group, Keegan Hornblow. In first place And the winner of the gold medal and the national jersey, your 2022 Under-23 road race national champion for Under-23s representing Groupama FDJ, Lawrence Piffy. Jersey on and medal presented, and Lawrence also receives the New Zealand Cycling Corps Memorial Trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together please for the podium in the 2022 Under-23 men's road race. Now pop that trophy down again, Lawrence, for our champagne celebration. One more time, folks, put your hands together. Our Under-23 podium, congratulations. We now welcome to the podium the elite men's road race podium athletes. Put your hands together, folks. Medals will be presented by Martin Bradley, Executive Chair of Grassroots Trust. In third place and winner of the bronze medal representing Bolton Equities Black Spoke Pro Cycling, Ryan Christensen. In second place and winner of the silver medal representing Bolton Equities Black Spoke Pro Cycling, Tom Sexton. In first place, the winner of the gold medal and the national jersey, your 2022 Elite Men's Road Race national champion representing Bolton Equities Black Spoke Pro Cycling, James Fouché. Jersey safely negotiated, the medal, and James will also receive the NZACA Road Championship Cup. Put your hands together, folks, for our podium, the Elite Men's Road Race. And now time for the champagne. One more time, folks, put your hands together, please. The podium and your champion, James Fouché, in the Elite Men's Road Race with Grassroots Trust here for 2022. That wraps us up. And again, folks, thank you for your understanding. Please, we do ask that you immediately disperse. As a part of our COVID guidelines, we are not allowed a gathering of any sort, so we're doing our best to make sure we follow those rules. Thank you for your understanding. Thanks to our commissaires, to our volunteers, to our medical team, our marshals, everyone out there for their work in putting these races on over the weekend. It's been hugely testing conditions, but thank you so much to everyone for making it possible. Thank you to Grassroots Trust and all of our partners over the course of the Ride Festival. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. Meantime, be safe as you head home to wherever that might be. And look out for trees across roads.
Yeah, thank you to Andrew Dewhurst there. Well, it's been a strange day here in Cambridge. If you have just joined us, you're expecting to see live coverage of the men's race. They had to call the race short due to the extreme weather conditions, and a decision that wasn't made easy by the commissaires, but one which was made for the safety reasons of the riders. James Fouché winning his second men's national road title. Before we do just wrap things up here, just want to get the final thoughts of our four-time women's champion in the past, Rushley Buchanan, alongside of her Tim Gudsall. Well, Rushley, let's just go back and recap the women's race, which was staged earlier today. Olivia Ray winning that, showing her dominance and showing that, look, New Zealand has a genuine world-class sprinter.
Yeah, definitely. The women really went out there and raced it, and despite the shorter distance and the new course, they still gave it everything. There was a small bunch coming to the line. They all looked a little bit fisted, and then Olivia just showed her strength in the sprinting, and that's what she came here to do. She came here to win and put her hand up and say, I want to wear that jersey. I want to line up at the front of the Women's World Tour wearing this, Fern. And she's going to be doing that this year, and it's going to be awesome, and I know she's going to do it proud.
Okay, Tim Gudsall. What we proved today, as we were saying it earlier, it's not always necessarily the best bike rider that wins. Sometimes it is the smartest. And James Fouché's part of a very smart, well-organised Bolton Equities Black Spoke Pro Cycling team, and Scotty Guyton. They did their homework and it paid dividends.
Yeah, it sure did. Scott's been around a long time. He's won many races himself out of knowing the race inside out, knowing the rules. They turned up here today knowing that the race could be called at any time, and the rider across the finish line in the previous lap is the winner. So they went out there and did that. They actually went across the line all 4 laps in the lead. So they used their heads and they came away with a clean sweep on the podium.
So congratulations to Olivia Ray on the women's race, James Fouché on the men's side of it. Bolton Equities Black Spoke Racing going 1, 2 and 3 in the open men's race, doing what they did in the time trial on Friday. It's great to have such depth, such quality cyclists in this country. We do apologise for not being able to bring you all of that men's race, but on behalf of myself, Tim Gudsall and Rushley Buchanan, it's been an absolute privilege and a pleasure.
Thank you.